Hi, everyone. This is Mike from Dimensional Walking. Today, I'm going to start this episode off with a kind of a strange question. Some of you will probably know the answer to it, and some of you will think I'm crazy or not understand it completely. So, this question is going to be: Was a guy named Tomato Man part of a UFO crash? Okay, that's the question. So, according to multiple accounts, in July 7th, 1948, a 90-foot silver disc-shaped UFO was tracked flying at 2,000 miles per hour over Albuquerque, New Mexico, before making a sharp 90-degree turn and heading towards southwest Texas. Two U.S. Military jets allegedly pursued the object until it crashed 30 miles southwest of Laredo, Texas, across the border in Nuevo Leon, Mexico. I'm sorry, I have a little hard time pronouncing that one, but I did. Anyways, it's right over the border. The crash reportedly was cordoned off by U.S. servicemen until a special retrieval team arrived. Okay, it's probably the retrieval team that a good friend of mine was part of, but that's another story. The wreckage was said to be transported to the military base in San Antonio, Texas, and among the debris, suppose it was a badly burned non-human body, allegedly was recovered. So in 1978, a retired U.S. Navy photographer from Tennessee claimed he had been flown to the crash site in 1948 and documented the wreckage and the body of the pilot of that particular craft. He released two photographs, one showing a charred humanoid figure with large head and claw-like hands laying in vegetation on a hillside. The figure was dubbed the Tomato Man due to its swollen red appearance. The nickname stuck despite the grim implications. Uh, so the photos were sent to a, a guy named William McIntyre, who was the founder of a UFO research team. I think it's called the Mutual Anomaly Research Center and Evaluation Network, something like that. I may not have the words exactly right. Anyways, McIntyre had the negatives, and they were analyzed by Eastman Kodak, which confirmed that they were at least 30 years old, which would be the right time frame, and showed no signs of tampering. The images were later released to the public in 1980 by Charles Wilhelm of Ohio, and he was a UFO investigator with another group in Ohio. The release of the Tomato Man photos caused a stir in the UFO community because of what it looked like, basically. While some hailed them as a smoking gun, others, excuse me, others dismissed them as hoaxes or misidentifications. The source remained anonymous, citing fear of government prosecution, but but his military credentials were reportedly validated. So the guy that released the stuff um, was a valid military person. So the case was further investigated by a guy, kind of a famous UFO researcher, Leon Stringfield, who claimed that the inside military sources confirmed the recovery of this metallic disc and the dead alien, who was approximately 4.5 feet tall, hairless, and thumbless hands. Stringfield presented his findings to a UFO MUFON symposium in 1978, adding credibility to the story. So let's talk a little bit about possible similarities to the Roswell and other border incidents. So the Laredo crash strikes similarities in Roswell. It occurred approximately 1 year later. It was near the U.S.-Mexican border, a hotspot for UFO activity. Roswell is not far from the UFO United States-Mexican border. So both involved rapid military response and alleged transport of wreckage and bodies. Secrecy details emerged decades later through whistleblowers and leaked photographs, which is both of them were very similar. Also, there were other incidences. Some of them I've heard about personally, and some of them I didn't. And one of them is in 1955. It's called the Del Rio crash. And then there's this Koyami incident in 1974, which involved UFO crashes, military retrievals, and rumors of alien bodies. So, and they were quite similar in many ways. So let's talk a little bit about some theories and speculation. So the aircraft, the alien craft, was probably the most popular theory, is that the object was extraterrestrial vehicle and the Tomato Man was its pilot. Okay, so that's one of the juicy, I guess we'll call it juicy theories. Then the other theory, what this craft was an experimental aircraft. Some suggest possibly it was a U.S. New classified aircraft or maybe a Soviet craft, and that the body that was actually a human that was the test pilot, and he was in an advanced suit. I guess that's what it was, and I guess they're saying that if he crashed, he burned, then his body, no matter what it was, if it was alien or human, it would look fairly similar. I'm not sure about the claw thing on the hands instead of fingers, but anyways, who knows when you're in a crash that's burning at high temperatures. So the other thing is, the other maybe speculation is disinformation campaign. Others believe that the photos were part of a deliberate misinformation effort to muddy the waters around real UFO recoveries. Possible. Then, of course, there's also the hoax. It could have been a hoax. Skeptics argue the photos show burned human bodies from a conventional craft, misinterpreted or exaggerated by UFO enthusiasts. So, despite the controversy, the Tomato Man remains a symbol of UFO secrecy. The case is often cited by researchers as an example of how credible evidence can be buried, dismissed, or lost in the noise of hoaxes and misinformation. It also highlights the importance of photographic evidence, even when it's grainy, disturbing, and decades old. So the Laredo crash has earned a place in high place, I would say, in the UFO lore, not just for its eerie visuals, Tomato Man, but for the way it connects dots across the time and geography from Roswell to Wyoming, from New Mexico radar stations in Mexico to Mexico highlands. Final thoughts. The 1948 Laredo crash and a Tomato Man photographs offer a compelling, if controversial, glimpse in the early days of the UFO recovery lore. Whether you see it as a genuine alien encounter or a cold war mystery or a masterful hoax, it is a story that refuses to fade and one that is still invites curious minds like yours to dig deeper. Okay, so with all that said, hold on. Well, anyways, what I was going to tell you is that I was referred to a gentleman that was in the military that I knew quite well, and he had given me a lot of information. I really cannot remember if he gave information on retrieving crafts at Laredo. I'm going to do some research on it because he'd sent me quite a bit of material, and we'll talk about it. Hold on one second. I'm going to see if I can grab a tape here. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, here we go. Yes, Clifford. Yeah, here's the tape. Clifford E. Stone, and I'll show it to you. Okay, he sent me quite a few of these tapes. Anyways, it talks about some of these crashes and retrievals, He was a great guy. I had him a couple of times at the UFO forum that I ran in New Mexico, in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I visited him in Roswell, New Mexico, and had lunch with him a couple of times. And a great guy. Anyways, he had given me quite some materials, and I'm gonna check it and see if Laredo was in that one because I think it was. So, anyways, that's it. Happy trails until we meet again. Bye bye.